Hang on. I don't want to mess with the and one. All right, we'll start. I'm going to start with this, Tate. We love the setup we have here. We've talked about it the last few shows. We got a new studio here at Fox. It's great. The set is awesome. The one downside, and I'm not complaining. I certainly don't want to go back to doing them over Zoom and having choppy audio and
Don't
video
say
and
it.
everything.
What is happening?
But the one downside is that we have time constraints with when we can use this studio. There are other people that need to use it for various reasons. I don't know. Is there something going on in the sports world this week? I don't understand.
You can't say it. But it's the 55th week of football. Yeah, something like that.
So I say all that to say this. We had to record this at this time. It is currently 5:21 p.m. On Thursday. And the reason that's noteworthy, 5:21 Pacific, 8:21 p.m. Eastern. The reason that's noteworthy is that Iowa is playing Ohio State right now, and the Buckeyes are down 2 at the under 12 timeout. So
it's a top 10 matchup, but you were halfway engaged in the podcast, but you're also halfway engaged in this top 10 matchup.
Yeah,
so your heart is being tugged both sides.
I'm basically making a pre-excuse. So if I don't have my A game on the show today, it's because I'm not even looking at tape. Both of my eyeballs are on the TV as we're trying to Luka Garza's hitting threes, and it's really pissing me off. And then Dwayne Washington just got hot. It is a great game. Both these teams are very good. I'm a big make shots guy, always have been. Both these teams are making shots.
This was good for college basketball, I think, to have a top 10 matchup where both teams are offensive minded. You know, a lot of people complain about college basketball. They say it's ugly. You know, it's they can't enjoy it. There's no grace to the game. Both these teams can score. They have some very offensive weapons that we enjoy. Luka Garza, it's a nice national platform game for him. So
yeah, if you catch
not
me,
good for you right now.
Yeah, if you catch me losing
else.
my train of thought, if I stammer more than usual, that's probably what's going on. But I'm going to do my best to chug along here. So speaking of great offensive teams, games that are fun to watch, I think we started last show talking about Texas Tech, Oklahoma, and that was a stinker. It was a close game technically, but kind of a stinker.
I already forgot it. Yeah,
exactly.
Threw it out.
Baylor, Texas was not. That was the eye bleach that I needed in college basketball. That was an absolutely beautiful game, and I just wanted to spend a few minutes at the top of the show talking about how good Baylor is, because as I said, we've acknowledged them, but not as much as Baylor fans would like. And I've always kind of dismissed it as, listen, I think Baylor has the potential to be awesome, but until they actually I'm not going to be Tate Frazier who gets excited about Baylor killing Kansas State.
Yes.
That's not going to do it for me.
That got me.
That got you.
That's when I bought in.
Right.
Said,
You're like, oh my God, I
I'm
believe in this team. It's not that I didn't believe in them. It's like, man, what I've seen from Gonzaga is going to be hard to top. And I don't know if Baylor's topped it yet, but I do want to walk back some of the. I mean, I was one of the guys early on, Tate, saying Gonzaga versus the field. And the Baylor fans were like, what about us? And I was like, well, you're going to have to prove it. They've proven it.
Yeah.
They've proven it.
Absolutely.
It is now Gonzaga and Baylor versus the field.
In the Big 12, they're shooting 43%, as a team, the Baylor Bears, which makes no sense. No BU opponent has lost by fewer than 8 points this season against the Bears. So this team, they're not just beating people, they're blowing people out. They're shooting 56% from the field as a team, which is ridiculous. And every single time you watch them play, you expect one of these teams to come out and sort of attack them. You expect Baylor to be on the defensive, but you realize, and I saw after the game, Jared Butler was asked, he was like, we actually come out as the aggressor. We like to attack teams, so we don't let them attack us. Yeah. And they are a defensive-minded team, even though they have the offensive weapons, in Mitchell and in Butler. They get after your own defense, and it's a fun team to pull for. I think they're a historic team, and I think that's really the conversation we're having. We knew that they were a really good team, but now they're getting, on the cusp of being a historic team.
Yeah, and the way they're going about it is so.
It's a race to 69 right now. It's 66-65. Iowa's
just hit a three from the sideline logo. And,
yeah, that's what he does.
We're all right. We're only down 1. It's our ball. So the way Baylor goes about it is so clinical and much the way I was showering praise on Gonzaga earlier this season with this idea that other teams, it's really Gonzaga, Baylor, and Villanova now at this point are the 3 teams, and we'll talk about Villanova getting upset in a second, but like as programs, as the way these guys are coached, you can see that they play the game differently in the sense that the stereotypical college basketball player will catch the ball. He will turn to his bench and look at his coach. I'm exaggerating, obviously, but you turn to your bench, you look at your coach, say, Coach, can I shoot it? And the coach is like, give me a second to think about it. Let's see. Nope, pass it. And then he's like, all right, I'll pass it. And, like, that's kind of how it feels like college basketball players play. Baylor is one of the teams, along with Gonzaga, along with Villanova historically. There are others, but those are the ones that stand out, that the guys catch the ball and they just spray it in your mouth and they don't care. And if they miss, whatever. But, like, early on in that game, Jared Butler hit, like, it felt like he hit every shot he threw up. They were all nothing but net. And Texas felt like they were playing defense. And Texas seemed a little shell-shocked of, like, I was there. I had my hand up.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you're 2 feet off of him.
It was
like,
the first time I felt like Texas kind of had to fall flat on their face a little bit, where the talent that we've seen at Texas, with Greg Brown and Kai Jones, these guys have been able to make up for some of the mishaps.
I'll say this. Texas is we were there in person when Texas played Indiana, and they punked Indiana. Like, right out of the gate, Indiana looked like they wanted to be anywhere else but playing basketball against Texas. The way Indiana plays offense and the way Baylor plays offense could not be more opposite. Indiana is the team I just described, where Trey Galloway will catch it. And he's like, Coach, I'm just a freshman. You said freshmen aren't allowed to shoot, right? And it's like, Trey, shoot the damn ball, Baylor did the opposite, and Texas was on their heels the entire game. But Texas played well. Like, I felt like they were matching them shot for shot, but you can't match.
I think this will be a good thing for Texas in the long run because, I just mentioned they have so much talent that they probably have been able to convince themselves that they're going to be able to match anybody. They're going to be able to get up for any game. And when you have a team like Baylor that is so consistent, so tethered together, and so elite, and they hit you in the mouth like that, I think it'll be good for Texas to actually make a real tournament run. They needed that for the season. They're coming off the COVID stuff. I'm not done with Texas. I still think Texas is a Final Four contender.
But Texas isn't. I mean, the theme of the season has been Gonzaga Baylor, obviously, and can anyone disrupt that at the top? And Texas, this certainly, when you're looking at Baylor's schedule, you would circle this game as like the time someone could maybe disrupt it. Texas is very good. They're playing at home. They play great defense. Maybe they could slow Baylor's. And no, they can't. The answer is no. Baylor is much better than everybody else, except maybe Gonzaga. And that's where we're at.
And the worst part is they have postponements coming up, so they're going to have a couple games that they just had to postpone. So we're not going to be able to watch the best team that we're talking about right now. And I feel like that's sort of the weird part about college basketball. It happened with Villanova. They kind of reached this point in the season where we're like, hey, they're a top 3 team. We need to watch out for them. And then, they go on a break. We sort of forget about them. Obviously, they lose to St. John's, and we're going to talk about them in that sense today. But I'm worried about that for Baylor, maybe, with, missing some games. But
I don't want to go full 1976 Indiana Hoosier superfan here. But, however, as I was watching the game at Texas, I thought to myself, and Texas doesn't have an awesome home crowd stereotypically. It's not like, if you're ranking the best atmospheres in college basketball, Texas is making your list. But I was watching that game thinking, does this, because you're saying this is historic. You're saying Baylor could run the table as a power conference team. No home fans, that matters, right? That matters that Baylor isn't on the grind.
Not according to our guy Jim Boeheim, but yeah, you're right.
Doesn't it matter? Yeah, Jim Boeheim says home fans don't matter. But I'm saying, say Baylor runs the table, say Gonzaga runs the table. Does it count? How undefeated are they, Tate? Is the question. That's really where we're getting here. Do you think that Baylor could actually go into Allen Fieldhouse and then turn around and go into the Irwin Center in Texas and then go on the road at West Virginia and have full crowds and also do this? Should there be an asterisk? Is my question. I'm not saying there should. I'm just asking questions, Tate.
It's honestly a great point, and I think 9 times out of 10. I mean, Roy Williams said this. He said that there is home court advantage because these suckers, as he called them, have been able to shoot on these rims. They're comfortable shooting on these rims. We heard that.
There still is a home court advantage.
But there's not the fans that probably the Cameron Crazies. I'd say give you about 8 to 10 points in their mind every single night. I think that they are very undefeated. I don't think there needs to be an asterisk next to all of these wins, but I think at the end of the day, there will be the haters. You and I know this. We know that there's always going to be someone that's going to poke holes in history, especially. And the Bob Knight fans, the 1976 Indiana Hoosier fans, that believe in, that is perfection. It's kind of like the Dolphins. When Don Shula comes up, they're like, 72 Dolphins. That's what it is. You know, that is the pinnacle. You guys will not accept this because it is not in fact the pinnacle. You know what I mean? It is not going in and playing against, you know, raucous fans, you know, going crazy every single night.
You didn't have to play at Mackey Arena when all the students knew your girlfriend's name and were chanting them at you, you know, like the 76 Hoosiers did. So it doesn't count. I don't like that Mark Few and Scott Drew are so close and that they're friendly. I brought this up to Andy last week that I don't know. I don't trust them. I don't trust those two together. I don't trust, like, are they both going to go undefeated, meet in the title game, and then create a situation where the game gets canceled and they can be co-champions? It feels like if there were two guys that would do that, it feels like it'd be those two. That they'd be like, why don't we just be co-champions and we're both undefeated and we get to share that forever. I love you, Mark. I love you too, Scott. Congratulations, we did it.
Yeah, this is YMCA basketball at its finest right there. I do think in a regular season, if Baylor's playing at Allen Fieldhouse on February 27th, that is the game that you circle and you say, even regardless, you know, I know that Kansas has not looked great. They have struggled a lot. They still can turn it on.
I'm still circling it, but I'm circling it as a historic loss. I'm circling it as Baylor winning by 40.
Oh man,
that's what I'm circling it as.
Kansas fans.
Let's talk about some of these upsets. So I kind of ran through them. Let's go, EJ Liddell. Yes.
3-point lead for
I
the
can't tell if
Buckeyes
this is a good idea to do the podcast right now or the worst idea we've ever had. But Buckeyes are up by 3 with 7:30 to play, by the way. I'll give everyone a play-by-play. So which one stood out to you on Wonky Wednesday? We got Villanova, St. John's. I think that might end up being your answer. Virginia Tech loses to Pitt. Shout out to Champagnie brothers.
Yeah,
is that the story? Is that the story to
So
you?
maybe that is the story, and I think that's where we jump in because, you know, Wonky Wednesday happens. A lot of people in the college basketball sphere, you know, I saw Jeff Goodman put the tweet out with all the games of the upsets, and it's like, tune in, folks. This is the time, you know, to see college basketball at its finest. Anything can happen. That's what we love about college basketball. And what we really love about college basketball is great stories. And, you know, we've had some great twins in college basketball over the years.
Twins.
Yes, we've had the Morris twins. You know, we've had, you know, the Harrison twins. You know,
the
at
Ware
Kentucky.
twins.
We've had the. I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. All right, moving on. But the Champagnie twins have taken over college basketball, and they've taken over two conferences that are, you know, we joke about the old Big East, but they have obviously cachet in the college basketball space. The ACC obviously has cachet as well, and the ACC Player of the Year is Justin Champagnie. Can
I stop you here? What's your play here? What like you are carrying water for Justin Champagnie in a way that I've never seen you carry water for maybe Florida State. Like you get infatuated with Florida State guys from time to time, but you are so excited about this guy.
Yes,
and it seems weird because he's an ACC guy. And
well, we should
just explain it. I'm not, you know.
No. There is a number that I like, you know, for a big man in the ACC that kind of sets the tone of like that guy's a different caliber player. Tyler Hansbrough said it when he had 20 and 10 in the ACC, and I said, oh my goodness, you know, 2008 Tyler Hansbrough, this guy's unstoppable, just throwing in floaters, you know, running down the court with his arms
shooting hook shots from his hip.
Yeah,
and how does he do it, folks?
Unbelievable.
Shot putting the ball into the basket. Yeah.
2018. Marvin Bagley comes into the ACC as a freshman, 20 and 10. And he played at Duke, so you asked me why I couldn't be infatuated with the guy. I'm like, how is this guy at Duke? Why did he not go to USC? Because he would have been someone I'm infatuated with because of just the natural instinct to be able to read a shot, know where the ball is going to go, get rebounds, you know, all that sort of stuff. But anyways, the Champagnie brothers, they're 3-star recruits, Mark Titus. That's why I'm fascinated.
Okay.
And they're twins, and they're out of Brooklyn. Brooklyn, obviously, all the historical stuff that goes into, you know, Chris Mullen, all these guys, you know, back in the day. But when Champagnie committed to Pittsburgh, there was, you know, a lot of drama because the twins were supposed to stay together. Julian, who is now at St. John's, Justin, who is now
That is how
Pitt.
it usually works. It's like twins. All the ones
I
we
just
mentioned,
listed
the
them.
Lopez, the Morris,
Collins
the
twins.
Collins twins. Yeah.
But the only
Others.
twins that come to mind that didn't do this, and they actually, you know, went to the same school at first, but they had to transfer, Harvey Grant and Horace Grant. So back in the 80s, the Grant twins go to Clemson. Harvey, not able to get the playing time that he wants, ends up transferring to JUCO. Horace almost goes with him, but decides not to because he said, you know, he needed to grow in his own time. Harvey goes to Oklahoma, takes Oklahoma to a title game. Horace is the ACC Player of the Year at Clemson. Sound familiar? Like Justin Champagnie going to be the ACC Player of the Year. Julian Champagnie, just like Harvey Grant, was more of the leader, more stoic, you know, the one that was sort of a force, but, you know, the more athletic, the more of the headline grabber was obviously Horace, which is Justin Champagnie. So I want to make that connection first and foremost. I think that
makes a lot of sense. That clears it up for me because listen, they're good players and not taking anything away from them, but like it takes a lot for Tate Frazier to get infatuated with a player, especially in the ACC. You know, like guys that North Carolina is.
And I will say, I don't even, Pitt to me, not to throw Pitt under the bus here for ACC fans, but I don't view them as an ACC purist school. I view them as like a Northeastern school. So I'm sort of infatuated by twins in general. The fact that they separated, the fact that they didn't want to separate, and the fact that now Justin says he has become a man without Julian. Julian used to set his alarm for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This is how close they were. And Julian has become a leader. Mike Anderson at St. John's says, he has turned into kind of our guy, someone that we can rely on. He's averaging Julian Champagnie, who I haven't talked a lot about on this program. He's averaging more points per game than Justin Champagnie, who's going to be the ACC Player of the Year.
Wow.
So we have to give these guys their due. He's also averaging 6.8 rebounds per game, which is in the top 10 in the Big East. Julian Champagnie as well. And then they get the upset over Villanova. I think this is the first time we got Julian Champagnie at the forefront. The Johnnies have won 5 games in a row. They win this game at Carnesecca Arena. They haven't, Villanova hadn't played there since the 90s, so there was some old Big East juju in the air. It was a good moment. It was a good moment.
I do still love that about the Big East is that they've carried on the old Big East tradition of I turn on a Big East game and I have no idea what gym this is.
Yes.
Like where is St. John's home gym? Where is Villanova's home gym? Providence has the same deal where they have the one on campus and then the one in downtown.
But
all the Big East
it's like these historic games.
UConn
let's
has
take
it
a Carnesecca. Yeah,
UConn has the two.
It's the best. I think it's great.
The Big East is the only conference where that's the case, and it makes sense. And I don't know. And then you get those weird stats that like Villanova's never and it sound because it's probably like they've only played there twice since 1990. Maybe not. I don't know. I've never. It's too much work to do all the research. So Julian Champagnie.
Yep.
His
that's
squad,
the Champagnie update.
Yeah. So St. John's beats Villanova. Now what has come out of this is, as you said, St. John's on a 5-game winning streak. They beat UConn, I believe. No James Bouknight in that game, but whatever. The resume says we beat UConn. That's all that matters. St. John's is now. Here we go. Here's Carnesecca Arena. We're getting some footage of this. Look at this. They have a great logo, by the way, St. John's. I do the STJ. I like the way that.
That we love Coach Lab on this program, and Coach Lab brought St. John's back in like 2011, just enough to get people to say, "Oh yeah, I remember the Johnnies," And now when they're winning games, and Shamari Pond's the nice little era.
But one thing I'm seeing that's come out of this is that people are saying St. John's is now in the NCAA tournament conversation, and we could talk about St. John's resume, but I'm more interested in what does that mean? What does being in the NCAA tournament conversation mean? Did we not have a word for it? Is this like a...
We call it the bubble, right?
Did COVID get rid of the bubble? Okay. Does bubble mean something else now? So we have to come up with a new phrase? But I've seen multiple people, multiple sources are saying St. John's is now in the NCAA tournament conversation, which I don't think they're quite like. I think that's everyone's way of saying like they're definitely not going to make the tournament based on what we've seen so far.
But we're happy that they won some games.
But they're winning some games, and that's cool. And they're playing well right now. And we want to help Mike Anderson get some program momentum. This is a program win for Mike Anderson. Are you counting it as a program win?
I think so.
I think so. I think put the stamp on it. Program win. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. I love the vernacular that we throw around where it's like. If you're being told about your team that you are now in the conversation in the NCAA tournament, that means you are like the 38th on the bubble. You're like
it is pretty crazy to think that like college basketball was quite clearly the only sport that took such a hit from COVID. They lose their most lucrative month where they own the sport.
We're the only sport that didn't crown a champion, and
then you lose the bubble terminology. You lose your own verbiage where now people when you say on the bubble, they're like, don't you mean in the bubble?
Mm-hmm. And you're like, on the bubble has existed since Jim Boeheim has been coaching. Okay, so we've been.
That's a long time, folks. Let's pivot to East Carolina.
Okay.
In Houston. I think Houston is probably an interesting team. I had my bad guy of the week, Kelvin. Kelvin Sampson was supposed to be, turning all things up. This is supposed to be the stretch run of the year. This is the bad guy move, but instead of playing Gonzaga, that was sort of the rumor. Gonzaga and Houston were trying to schedule a game.
Yeah,
he plays his normal conference game against East Carolina on
the road.
And
then they scheduled, but no, they had an open date, and they filled it with Our Lady of the Lake, an NAIA school. That's what they filled it with. I guess like Auburn was trying to get. Maybe I got that wrong. But somebody was trying to get. There was Gonzaga, and I think somebody else was trying to play Houston. Because Houston
in Salt Lake City, right? That was
the Gonzaga one was going to be in Salt Lake City, I think. And obviously that would have been an awesome game. That would have had a vibe of like BYU Coastal Carolina. We saw that in football this year. They call each other like, let's just play. And it was the game of the year in college football.
It was an
That was an
amazing
amazing game.
Yeah, it was when Coastal Carolina kind of came to the forefront. Really.
And Kelvin Sampson says no, which like, you don't have to play games if you don't want to, I guess. But then you schedule Our Lady of the Lake. What does that do for you? What does that do, Tate? I'll tell you what it does. It makes you lose to East Carolina.
Yeah, I was going to say it hurts the argument for the East Carolina players because after this game, they are calling it and tabbing it the quote-unquote best win ever. And look, I have a lot of friends that went to North Carolina, East Carolina. My dad went to East Carolina for a little bit before going to North Carolina. So, look, love East Carolina, love Greenville, North Carolina. This is not the best win ever. This may be the best win ever for East Carolina.
Yeah,
obviously,
their first
top five win
yeah.
of all time. East Carolina basketball is one of those programs that has had like, here's a perfect example of East Carolina to describe it. North Carolina got Michael Jordan. East Carolina got Leroy Smith, and they were both on the same team in high school. Like that is sort of like what East Carolina basketball is. And, for them to get this program, this is actually a program win for them. This is going to be easy, help them in recruiting, especially in the eastern part of the state of North Carolina. So shout out to them, but it's not the best win ever. I just want to say that was a little egregious.
Who's the best athlete in East Carolina? If I say East Carolina sports, what comes to mind? I can't even think of I kind of conflate all.
My uncle, Cotton Clayton.
There you go. His name was Cotton?
Yeah. Lawrence Cotton Clayton. He had white hair. Still has the rebounding record in the state of North Carolina. 46 in a game. My uncle. There you go. East Carolina legend. Literally won the College World Series, Mark Titus.
Did every
hit a grand
guy
slam in the College World Series, national championship game.
Did every guy who was on an organized sports team
have a nickname?
Back in the day? Like, what the hell?
Yes. That's how you knew. Like, he was getting recruited. It was like Larry Brown, Art Heyman, and Cotton Clayton.
Oh my god! I have a semi-hot take that I'm working on.
Please.
I don't think it's. I shouldn't even said that. I don't think it's that bad. Houston, I think, is slowly becoming the new Gonzaga, and I don't mean the current Gonzaga. I mean
the old Gonzaga.
The old Gonzaga,
yeah.
but they are taking over the idea of Houston. Like I feel like if I'm forecasting the next 7 years of Houston basketball, assuming Kelvin Sampson stays there for the next 7 years, and that's what we get out of Houston. They're gonna win almost 30 games every year. They're going to dominate the American. They're going to maybe play one or two decent non-conference games, maybe not. Who knows?
Looks like maybe not now.
Maybe not now. And we're going to be stuck as you and I as analysts, fans are going to be stuck. All of it is going to be like we're trying to figure out how good they are.
Yeah.
They're going to get 1 seeds every so often. They're going to get 2 seeds. They're going to lose in the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Maybe they go to the Elite Eight. They're going to take over the new because Gonzaga is like legit now.
Are you leading us into the fraud power rankings? Because I feel like that's what it feels like in my heart right now. Because Houston is one of those teams where I would have felt better if they agree to go to Salt Lake City and get beat by 40 points.
I'm with you, but I don't like
100%
because this is a program loss to me. This is a program loss for Houston. They've already lost to Tulsa. I mean, you look at like the wins that they have. So they're 2 good wins that they have this season. Boise State, who we're going to get into fraud power rankings later, and spoiler alert, Boise State fans, turn off your however the hell you listen to podcasts, whatever, turn that off. They beat Boise State. Yep. And then they beat Texas Tech, which granted, Texas Tech is a good team. We like Texas Tech, but Texas Tech can play
they play to who they're playing.
They play to who they're playing. And okay, so let's not even preface with that. Let's say Texas Tech's a good win. Texas Tech, congratulations, Houston. Great win. You beat Texas Tech in November. So now we have all of the American is bad, dude. Like I'm sorry. Apologies to all those of you in Cincinnati that listen to the show. You know it. I know. Like we got to get you back into big. We got to figure something out with Cincinnati.
Yeah. Save Cincinnati.
The American's not good. Memphis is like Wichita State. SMU.
I should have said that with the Champagnie update. I thought our Penny was going to be Penny Hardaway, but it's the Champagnies.
Dude, Penny Hardaway. I watched the first Memphis game that I've watched in a while. When they were playing SMU the other day. I don't know why I was watching it. I just threw it on the TV. I was like, yeah, I'll watch SMU Memphis, and Memphis ends up. I think SMU won, and Memphis didn't get a shot. So they butchered the final possession. But I don't know how I never noticed this. Memphis has the Penny logo on like everything they have. Like Penny's drawing up plays on his dry erase board.
No, it's a
He's got
brand
the 1
play.
cent logo on his dry erase board. What are you doing, Penny? Unbelievable. Shout out to Juwan Howard. The more I pay attention to guys like Penny Hardaway, the more I love Juwan Howard, who like is in tears that he gets to put on the He's a Michigan man. He gets to put on the M. John Howard is like, if I had a logo, I'm ripping it off and I'm tattooing the Michigan M on my heart. And Penny Hardaway was like, get Memphis out. We are no longer Memphis Tigers. We are the Penny Hardaway Pennies.
What happened? Well, I mean,
Like,
look, it was
what?
a different name when he played there, so he probably was at that. You know, it was Memphis State when I was here.
Memphis State,
So he's like, these people don't even care about their names. He's
doesn't
gonna
even-
take the 1 cent
He
off.
didn't
his
realize it
players'
was the same
jerseys.
school when he took the job. He's like, what?
I will
anyway.
say,
Anyway, the point is the American sucks. Maybe these are programs that could theoretically, like Cincinnati, SMU, Memphis, Wichita State. These are programs that theoretically could become, but I'm worried, man. I'm worried about what the American's going to be, and I don't. As I look at the American, I don't see a huge difference between it and the WCC because the WCC is a punchline to a lot of people, but like BYU is good. There are there are other good programs, and St. Mary's is certainly a good program, whether they're like nationally relevant or whatever. Like they're a good program that if you have St. Mary's on your schedule, chances are you're gonna have to play well to beat them.
yeah, that's not an easy game.
But I look at the WCC, I look at the American. The American seems like an East Coast WCC. Houston seems like an East Coast Gonzaga, even though they're in Texas. What say you, Tate? Is that an okay thought process I'm having here?
I think it's very fair because I could see Houston, you know, continue to climb and continue to get better as a program, and
Yeah, they'll come out of it
Yeah,
like
they'll
that.
defy all of these things
Yeah.
where we're like they're not as good as we think. They're not really the 30-win team that we expect them to be. They're going to get upset. I mean, you know. They had the worst luck happen to them. The Michigan shot, you know, Swaggy Poole hits the shot against them. They could have
People
had a
do
Sweet
forget
16
that
run.
when Michigan went to the title game.
That was supposed to be a program run for them where we all see
yeah.
Houston go to the Sweet 16 and say, okay, Houston basketball is back. We didn't have that. So they're still waiting for that moment. Everyone's going to believe that they're, you know, not who we think they are. They shouldn't be as high, you know, or rated as high as we have them. But it's still, you know, I think it's still cool that they're relevant. You know, I still think it's great that Sampson's able to get us to talk about them.
Yeah.
And just play the game next time.
Just
like
play
if
the game,
Gonzaga
so.
calls, fly to Salt Lake City, get blown out, it's all good.
Buckeyes up 7. There's a
1 minute left. That's a win.
8 left. I don't know. Oh. Did Kyle Young come up with that and call timeout? He did.
He did.
What else is there before we get to the Pac-12 update?
I was gonna say. I mean, I think those were probably the we talked about the upsets, the 3 big upsets there. Did you see this This is a quick aside. The Rick Pitino FedEx drama. I don't know. You know, I mean, this is a fun show. Why not bring that up? Rick Pitino basically tweeted today at FedEx that he had sent out a bunch of gifts. You know, he had some money in these gifts that he was sending out for the holidays.
Of course he did.
Of course he did.
Bad guy of the week.
Yeah, bad guy of the week. We're going to talk about it on Tuesday even more. But, you know, he tweeted his, you know, basically the FedEx employees have stolen the money out of and did not deliver these packages. And then in the same vein, Eric Musselman, the Must Bus, to motivate his players, decided to dress up like a UPS delivery man to get his team to deliver. You know, just in the world of Titus and Tate, to have these two characters to wake up to that, to see a FedEx tweet from Rick Pitino, to see Eric Musselman say, we have to deliver. What can Brown do for you? I don't know. I think it was a good day in college basketball. Ridiculous things. Look at that.
Someone tell Eric Musselman to, like...
Literally, like he's on the King of Queens.
I want him to put a watermark on everything he does on the internet now and have it say muscle meme on it. Like, I feel like he
this
would
is
do
via
that.
Michael Muss, his son.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Put a watermark that just says, you've been muscle memed. Oh,
Yeah.
no. My dad, no, Bill, what are you doing? My dad just texted me really great win for the Buckeyes with 7 exclamation points with a minute left in Iowa's ball. What are you doing, Dad?
He knows. Coach Titus knows. It's game over. It's game over.
No. Oh, my God. We just fouled a jump shooter. Oh, my, I don't like this. No. Dad,
I love
why?
that this is happening live. This is good.
Dad, why would you do that?
But there you have it. Yeah, FedEx, UPS, they're in the conversation. Rick Pitino, Eric Musselman. But can we get to the Pac-12 update? I feel like it's time.
Yeah,
I
we
feel
can't.
Like, are you gotta wait a minute?
I don't like that. My dad just texted me really good win for the Buckeyes because he knows that I did this when I think it was when Indiana was playing at Iowa, and I tweeted the picture of the we're back shirt after.
Yes. Yeah.
I forget what win it was that Tom Crean pulled off that people started printing we're back.
Was
shirts.
it Christian? It wasn't.
It was
Wofford.
probably Watford.
Yeah, it had to be Wofford.
And there was probably like a minute left.
We're back.
When IU was playing at Iowa, I think I tweeted that. So my dad might be returning.
Honestly,
the favor,
you know
but-
what game it probably
Dude,
was?
we're up 5 with 52 seconds left
It's probably
against
when Carolina
Iowa.
played it at Assembly Hall, 2012.
Iowa could hit no lead is safe against Iowa. This is bad. This is very bad. Now, Oh my God.
No way. Can you guys shoot free throws?
Oh, all right. We'll power through. We'll power through. Pac-12 update.
Oh yeah,
all right.
please.
As I said on the last show, in case you missed it, I was talking about Loyola Chicago. Sister Jean was my bad guy of the week because I'm dumbfounded as to how Loyola Chicago is ranked so high on KenPom. So the Pac-12 update part of that is Loyola is currently ranked higher than the entire Pac-12. And also, if you want to count Houston as a mid-major and Gonzaga as a mid-major, which, ish, both of them are higher than the entire Pac-12 too. So there's that note that.
My goodness, what is going on?
There are 3 mid-majors that would be the best team.
Pac-12?
Yeah, in the Pac-12. Washington's dream run that they were on, the post Larry Scott era, when they go on a 2-game win streak. What I dubbed the reverse mountain trip. They swept the reverse mountain trip. They brought the mountains to them and swept. The dream run has ended. They lost by 15 to Washington State.
Oh my goodness!
Big rivalry game.
Rival. Yeah.
They lost that. Okay, all right. Now we're back to the Ohio State game. This is 30 seconds left. Iowa doesn't have to foul. There's 25 seconds on the shot clock.
This is the American basketball fan trying to keep up with the Pac-12.
Just get it to CJ and get it out of the way. They're gonna. Looks like they're gonna try to foul anyway. Maybe they're not foul. I don't know. I guess they're trapping. Yeah, they're not fouling, obviously, or else they would have fouled by now. There's a foul. Huh. I don't think they meant to do that. Yeah, they definitely didn't mean to do that based on the reaction. Yeah, I don't like how rattled we get. Like, we're so,
you guys are
so rattled.
Yeah. But it's also on the road, I mean, that was a tough inbound, to be honest with you.
Dude, if we lose this game, I'm going to be sick. I really
CJ's the guy, though. Give CJ the ball.
You know that Wieskamp's going to hit a 3. You know that he's going to hit a 3. So, like, just make your free throws. Let Wieskamp hit a stupid 3. All right, Dwayne Washington at the line. Buckeyes up 3, 17.5 to play.
Seal it.
Dude, I'm telling you, all these upsets that have happened, if Ohio State wins this, we're ranked 4th. We're playing when we're playing Michigan, it's for the Intercontinental Belt. Dude.
As you can tell, Ohio State missed the first free throw there.
No.
No. Come on, Coach Holtman. You got this.
No.
All you need is one.
Dude, no. Not like this.
Text your dad back right now. Say, are you kidding me?
What was he? Why would he do this? Okay. There you go. All right, we're up 4. That's still not enough, dude.
I like a Wieskamp pump fake and one.
Shut up. What? What the hell? Why? Who would say that? Luca, you... Yeah. Oh. Airball. No, don't foul him. Airball again. 2. Hit the horn.
Oh, wow.
Airball.
3 airballs. There you have it. Buckeyes.
Yes, chest bumps. Let's go. Buckeyes in the Final 4. Book it. Book it. Book it.
Oh,
where's my camera? Book it.
That's
Buckeyes are doing it. We're doing it. We should
Best team in the Big Ten, right?
You know, before we pause the Pac-12 update, I want to make this point. I'm going in on Michigan. It's tight. I just got fired up. I'm ready. So I don't hate Michigan basketball. I hate Michigan football. I've never really Michigan basketball. We love Duncan Robinson. Whatever. Disclaimer. But here's the thing. Michigan has been on a COVID break for a while, and I don't doubt that they should take the break. I'm not. This is not Kirk Herbstreit doing conspiracy talk as to guys.
As you wear your Ohio State sweatshirt.
Right. Yeah. I don't want people to take this the wrong way. What I do want to say, Tate, there is a problem on the horizon, and it's this: Michigan is 8-1 in the Big Ten, and they are going to, by the end of the season, like, it doesn't feel like they're trying to make these games up. Michigan already had a cakewalk schedule. You look at their schedule; it's. I mean, come on, it was like the Big Ten was doing them a favor. They were doing Juwan Howard a favor. I understand it. I get how the game works, but like, come on. But now Michigan is going to be playing fewer games than some of these other contenders like Illinois is up there. Illinois, I think, is Illinois is 8-3. I think Ohio State is now 9-4 in the Big Ten. Michigan is 8-1. So the problem that's on the horizon is that there's going to be an imbalance, not just in terms of the strength of the schedule, Tate. There's an imbalance in the number of games played. So I'm saying this right now: when we beat Michigan. And we are going to beat Michigan. Juwan Howard and Jim Harbaugh combined wins against Ohio State 0. None. When we beat Michigan and Michigan falls to, like, they have 2 losses now in the season. We still have 4. We are the Big Ten champions. Do not give them the trophy. I'm going to be so mad. I just wanted to say that. I'm getting ahead of it, especially the 2 Purdue wins we've already established don't count. We were not at full strength. The Northwestern loss we had, or the two losses we had to Purdue don't count.
Yep.
The loss to Northwestern doesn't count. They cheated at the end. And the other loss we had was Minnesota at the barn when it was like magic, like there was some voodoo bull up there. So we are technically undefeated, and I just want to get ahead of this. When we beat Michigan, we're Big Ten champs.
Yeah,
Done.
and at the end of the day, flip the rivalry. It's not a football rivalry; it's a basketball rivalry. I think that's what you need to do. It's over. Football.
Dude,
it's done. Ohio State has won.
It's literally going to be
flip it to basketball.
3 versus 4 when we play Michigan.
Yeah, flip it to basketball.
Let's go.
Finally
All right.
did it.
Let's rip through Pac-12 update. Apologies to everyone that you had to deal with that. I know our listeners love it when our teams lose, so suck it.
This is not what they want.
Suck it, haters.
They're like, talk about Carolina. And no.
Suck it here. All right, so ESPN, here's the news. ESPN has filed a lawsuit against the University of Arizona to basically release the tapes. They want Arizona got a notice of allegations. They did not release the notice of allegations. What exactly is in that, I guess. So ESPN is saying, we deserve to know. Give us the notice of allegations. Arizona's rebuttal to this was, no, you released the tapes, Mark. That's what they said. They had their lawyers draw up a thing that said, you released the tapes. You're the ones that came at us. You said you have a wiretap of Sean Miller offering DeAndre Ayton $100,000. And ESPN never did release the tape. We were waiting with bated breath. We turned that into like 3 years of content waiting on ESPN to release these tapes. They never came out. They said the tape was out there. And now ESPN is trying to flip it. And now they're trying to sue Arizona. I don't like it one bit. I like it from a content perspective. I like it from a rivalry perspective.
For drama and the purposes of our show, this is great stuff. This is great fodder. It is, we just watched Utah. We were walking by. Utah's just beating Sean Miller. I assume that's still happening.
I assume they got wrecked. I don't know.
We cannot confirm that. But basically, Arizona in general, the basketball program, it is all signs pointing to Pastner. It is all signs pointing to the wonder kid to come back.
Dude, they lost by 15.
Yeah, so,
nice.
Sean Miller, he's holding on for dear life there. Arizona, we want them to come back to the forefront. Pac-12 update, bring Arizona back.
Here's some other notes. Evan Mobley's locked up player of the year. USC beat Stanford on Tuesday. The first, it was at Stanford. It was Stanford's first game back at Maples all season. We've been talking about that all year, how
Stanford's been homeless, yeah.
I still think Stanford's good. They're playing Cal tonight, by the way, so I might eat my words depending on what happens tonight. But I still like Stanford. It's just USC is very, very good. And the USC will be playing UCLA on Saturday. UCLA's up a game in the Pac-12 standings right now, first and second place, rivalry game. But Evan Mobley's unbelievable. And if you have not watched Evan Mobley play, please, I beg of you, America, please watch USC, UCLA on Saturday. UCLA they're in first. They've lost one game. It was an overtime against Stanford. In the Pac-12, I mean. But they've been a little dicey. Last 4 games for UCLA has not been – they've been a little shaky. And I don't know.
It's the year of LA in the Pac-12, and I will say USC on Saturday is going to solidify the fact that it is their year in LA. And we wanted to be UCLA, but Chris Smith, without Chris Smith, that was pretty much.
Remember last year, UCLA was a shot away. Jonah Matthews, I think, hit the shot to beat UCLA last game of the regular season. That if UCLA wins that game, that shot doesn't go down. UCLA somehow grabs a share of the Pac-12 title last year. It didn't happen, so. They got some revenge on their mind. But, yeah, I think Evan Mobley's locked up player of the year, so I want to point that out. And then I had this note, and then we'll get into fraud power rankings. I'll rip through those real quick. Corey Kispert, I want to draw attention. Baylor fans are like, my God, back on Gonzaga.
Yes.
Corey Kispert, so you know how much I love Salim Stoudemire. You know that Salim Stoudemire in 2005, when he shot 50% from the field, 50% from the three-point line, 91% from the free throw line, averaged 18 points per game doing it. One of the most, I would argue it was the greatest shooting season in college basketball history.
The greatest Elite Eight game of all time. Yeah.
Certainly the greatest shooting season I ever remember following throughout the season.
I got his whole jersey for my birthday. I got the entire Arizona 20 whole thing.
Corey Kispert, I just want to draw attention to this. Right now, his shooting splits are this: 57% from the field.
Insane.
48% from the three-point line, 90% from the free throw line, and he's averaging 20.2 points per game. And he's putting me in a real tough spot because I love Salim Stoudemire, but yikes, those numbers are insane, and I just wanted to point that out. The Corey Kispert is doing something that the only time I ever remember seeing someone like, because you see guys have awesome percentages. The shooting splits
50,
are not
40,
uncommon.
90 is what everyone kind of looks at, yeah.
But most of the time it's like a guy who's like the second or third best player. Or he's averaging like 11 points a game or whatever. So like the fact that Slim Stoudemire was doing, it wasn't like he was like being selective with the shots. He was still.
No, he was the gunner. He was the scorer. He was the guy.
He did it on a team. I think, did they win the Pac-12? I mean, they went to the Elite Eight. They won the Pac-12,
Yeah, I
right?
think
Yeah,
so.
they
Or
won the
Pac-10,
Pac-10.
yeah.
Yeah, at the time they were. He did it on a good team, a team that actually won. And
Yeah, they
and
were
all
a
that.
great team.
So that's what made it so rare. And Corey Kispert is doing it for the #1 team in the country that is also undefeated, and it's blowing my mind. And I just wanted to point that out. So that's a Pac-12 update wrinkle.
Yeah, the new Dan Marley right there.
Yeah. He's unbelievable. So hopefully I didn't jinx him. Hopefully
The most efficient player in the country. We should say. Yeah.
I wanted to do fraud power rankings, but I think we need to talk to Andy Katz. So I might save my because you know I love fraud power rankings.
Yes,
I did this with the NBA bubble. I love calling people frauds. And I was putting together.
And Wonky Wednesday was basically a fraud parade.
So I was putting together the Pac-12 update, and I was making notes of all the teams out west that are frauds, and I wanted to go through them, and I have them in front of me. But also, I think I want to talk to Andy Katz, so I'm going to do a tease. I'm going to save that for next Friday. Next Pac-12 update. You're gonna get a really hearty fraud.
Football's
power
done,
rankings.
and we get the full fraud power.
The full fraud.
Yeah.
Like this is where we stand in the post-football world. Here are the frauds out west. So. Maybe Boise State, but spoiler alert, as I said earlier, Boise State is on the list. So hopefully they could do something to get off the list between now and then.
Knock on wood.
Speaking of Boise State, speaking of guys who love Boise State, let's talk to Andy Katz. All right, joining us now as he does every Friday is Andy Katz for a little tier talk. I'm going to start like I like doing this. I like giving the people some context with Andy's tiers. Gonzaga Baylor tier 1 this week, obviously. Tier 2 is Michigan and Villanova, which we're going to talk about that. Tier 3 becomes Illinois and Iowa. Interesting given what we just saw here, Tate. Tier 4 is Virginia, Alabama, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Texas, Missouri. Tier 5, West Virginia, UCLA. Wow, UCLA made it.
There you go. Pac-12 update.
Wisconsin and Rutgers. Andy, I start very selfishly where I think we have to start, which is
your heart. Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell happened? Ohio State. They just beat Iowa. What's going on?
Okay. First of all, unlike some people in our country who don't own up to mistakes, I have evidence here. I bring you Exhibit A, which is my chicken scratch from earlier last night. Excuse me, earlier would have been Wednesday night.
Wednesday night, okay.
Okay?
Yep.
So Wednesday night, you can see this is an early version when I was just playing around, and I have Ohio State on there in Tier 4, and I was just moving teams around as I was just trying to decide what I was going to do. And as I was moving teams around, I literally just blanked on putting them in, and I did not self-check. It happens. I own up, but I will also bring Exhibit 2 here. Earlier in the week, I did a bracket, as I do now in February, and I just filled out, this is just a sort of a no-name bracket, so they're here as a 3 seed.
All right,
okay?
all right.
So,
but do you have these? Hold on, Andy.
Clearly, I mean, it was a mistake. It was a late night, and it was a pandemic mistake. And so I did not. I just forgot about them.
I forgive you, Andy.
And really,
it's not your fault, Andy. It's not your fault.
I'm just saying, the two of you should have been my checks and balances. There are plenty of people in this country who don't own up to their mistake. Okay, I just did, but I have evidence and proof that I have obviously backed Ohio State. Many times.
You have evidence and proof that you wrote it down. You could have done this right before we went on this air, Andy.
No. The bracket was published. The bracket was published earlier in the week as a 3 seed.
There you go.
In all seriousness, Ohio State did just beat Iowa on the road. I have never been higher on. I think I'm I'm feeling the sense of.
Never been higher.
I've never been higher. I've never been higher on Ohio State basketball than I am right now.
They went to the Final Four on the bench.
I've never, but we haven't had a tournament in 2 years, Andy, and I'm just so excited for March Madness. And like my first taste of March Madness, Ohio State is playing really well. Our offense is awesome. Where are you slating Ohio State? Surely not Tier 4 if you're putting them in now after we beat Iowa. Surely not.
As I said, that was early scratch Wednesday night, and as I was moving things around, I clearly would have had them right there with Illinois, not Iowa.
Iowa's down.
Probably ahead of Illinois because they beat Illinois. So they would have been in a Tier 3. Now, you could argue with me on bumping Villanova out of Tier 2, and that's a fine argument because I actually did that after they lost to St. John's, in large part because, you know this, I think you're okay to lose a game on the road in your league. That was their first loss on the road in their league against a hot St. John's team. I don't think I should necessarily punish them and pummel them deep down into the tiers for losing one road game. Now, if it becomes 2, 3, of course, yeah, see you down the road. But, I mean, one road loss in their league should not necessarily kick them out the door.
He's consistent with his take because he said the same about Boise State. I will defend Andy in that regard because we asked him about Boise State when they lost and they were still in the tiers. He said, it's one road loss.
And by the way, it came right back
and they did.
Won the next time.
You did. They did. How about that?
Andy, I think that for the rest of the year, you should keep Big Ten teams in Tier 2 and make the joke that they're always going to be Tier 2 and not the Tier 1 national championship teams.
Yeah.
And you should make it Michigan, Illinois, Ohio State, and Iowa, and just figure out which one of those 4 is going to make it the farthest in the tournament.
Just
for the rest of the year.
You know what? I actually thought about doing that, and maybe I should, but I will say this. You could make a strong argument that Maryland deserves to be in that group. What they've done lately. Not body of work, but certainly the last 3 weeks. The team that's very befuddling, but we've talked about it here, is Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And, one night they're hot, the next they're cold. They've got experience, but they don't have a star. So they're kind of hard to sort of ride on here. And then, we don't know what's going to happen with Michigan when they come off of this long pause, because unlike some of these other teams, so Baylor's on a quick pause, if you will, where they're only going to hopefully miss 2 games. But a lot of times these teams have been able to practice while on pause, whereas Michigan completely shut down the entire athletic department. So how they come out of this will be very interesting.
Yeah. Also, Indiana has a lot of good losses. Let's not forget about that. They're the best 8-loss team in the country, and they're killing it in the Big Ten by losing really close games and very hard fought.
That's what everyone's saying.
Everyone's talking about it. So let's do a big picture thing, Andy. We've talked about this a handful of times. We've had you on. Obviously, Gonzaga and Baylor is the story in college basketball. Gonzaga and Baylor versus everyone else. But one of the things I've been interested to get your perspective on as we progress through the season is what will it take for Baylor to jump Gonzaga? And it ultimately doesn't matter. We're going to play the tournament. They're both going to be 1 seeds, and we'll let it play out on the court. But, we have to fill some content here and discuss it, and we vote on it in the AP poll, so maybe it matters in that regard. Baylor just goes on the road, handles Texas pretty easily. I mean, it was close kind of back and forth, but it felt like Baylor never really broke a sweat. Like the way they were never panicking. And Texas is a very good team. So that is the question, Andy. Has Baylor done enough? If I were to tell you, I believe that Baylor is better than Gonzaga, they should be ranked number 1. Are you? How crazy am I if I say that?
You're not. Obviously Baylor's playing in a better league, but Gonzaga was sort of like a de facto member of that league because they already knocked off West Virginia, Kansas, and am I missing one? West Virginia, Kansas. I felt like there was a third, but maybe not. They were supposed to play Baylor.
Yeah.
But so they already have knocked off those 2. And, so they've obviously competed at that level. They've knocked off the best team in the ACC in Virginia. I think at one point we thought it was Florida State. Now I think it's Virginia again. So they should obviously, get credit and recognition for that. And the numbers are pretty close. I mean, Baylor's a better defensive team, but Gonzaga's a better offensive team. So would I complain if you went Baylor 1, Gonzaga 2? No. But I think if Gonzaga wins out, they will be the number 1 overall seed based on the overall body of work. And then Baylor will be the 2. And I just did a piece on this that, look, it would be wonderful. And I'm now rooting for it. If they're both undefeated, it would be the first time ever since the tournament started in 1939 that there were 2 undefeated teams meeting for the national championship.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And I wanted to ask you about Mark Few reaching out to Houston to, try to schedule a game in Salt Lake City.
Lady of the Lake.
Yeah, is Mark Few doing this because he's fearful, like Titus said, that, everyone is watching Baylor play in the Big 12 and we're kind of turning sour, so to speak, on Gonzaga and saying they might not be the best team? Is that why he's trying to schedule these games?
Well, no, half WCC's on pause right now.
Yeah,
they actually schedule. They're playing at Pacific Thursday night, at BYU Monday. He wants to keep playing good teams. So he reached out. What he told me was to Villanova, to Virginia Tech, to Houston, as you know, to UCLA. You know, the Houston thing is ridiculous because I think Houston could have used that game. And then karma, you know, takes a real big bite out of their rear because then they lost to East Carolina.
You never dodge.
Their excuse, by the way, their excuse was they didn't want 3 straight road games. East Carolina, Gonzaga. It wouldn't have been a road game. It would have been neutral, and actually would have been probably in this either in Salt Lake or the state of Texas. And then they're at I think South Florida next week. So they scheduled Our Lady of the Lake. I don't know if that's the character from Excalibur. I may be dating myself with that reference. But they're playing for that giant silver sword. I don't know. But, you know, I mean, have you guys heard of that school?
No, I thought Titus was messing with me when he said that.
Yeah, I told Tate earlier who they were playing, and he was like, huh? And yeah, I couldn't believe it. All right, I had this last thing I wanted to ask you because we obviously talk about all the teams that are on your tiers, Andy. I want to talk about the teams that aren't on your tiers. We haven't really had this discussion with you yet, and it's this discussion about how bad the Blue Bloods are, and that is another theme. If it's not Gonzaga, Baylor, or Gonzaga, Gonzaga, Baylor. The thing that everyone wants to talk about is how bad the Blue Bloods are. Much to Tate's chagrin, he's a Carolina fan. He's like, no, hang on, we're not that bad.
Yeah. The best of the worst.
So, given that UNC and Duke are playing this week, given that we just saw Kentucky lose to Missouri, and it feels like the wheels are completely off at Kentucky now. Cal's throwing Terrence Clark under the bus, and just the vibe coming out of Lexington is unlike anything we've ever seen. Kansas is obviously not playing well. Do you sense that this overall tenor with the Blue Bloods as just like a one-off thing, or is there like a shift happening? And I guess if I'm asking you a question, do you feel like this is the beginning of the end of some of these guys? Because in my mind, maybe you know, the people are talking about maybe Cal's done, maybe Coach K and Roy are decided to hang it up. How do you read it? Are we making too much out of this? Do you think they'll be back where they were next year?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I don't think we should judge anybody off this year because this was not a normal year in any sense for any of us as human beings on this planet, but especially just to dumb it down to college basketball. You know, a lot of these young teams never had their summer. You know, would they have taken a trip, you know, or what have you? I mean, just so many things that I think would have been beneficial to Kentucky, to Duke, especially to Carolina, maybe not Kansas because they didn't have as many young guys, but you know, I just think it's hard to judge. So I think nobody's leaving after this year. I think everyone needs to sort of hope for a normal year next year and then assess. So I'm not ready to go down that rabbit hole yet. I will tell you, though, that I feel fairly confident because the back part of the bubble is so mediocre that, you know, well, Kansas is going to get in. But I just still feel that Duke and Carolina, at least one of them will get in, maybe both. You know, Kentucky's dug such a massive crater that the only way for them to get out of it is to win the SEC tournament, which, by the way, they could. You know, they have the talent to do so. So I wouldn't rule that out either for them getting hot for, you know, although they probably have to win 4 games in Nashville, which is not easy, you know, compared to 3.
It could be like the Georgia did it with as an 8 seed, right? One year,
yeah, I think so.
SEC tournament. That was the year the tornado happened in Atlanta. And then that whole thing. Maybe that happens. Anything else, Tate?
No, that's
we
good.
Let Andy go.
Yeah, love it, Andy. I hope you will watch Carolina Duke this weekend. It feels like America has forgotten about the greatest rivalry in college basketball, but I hope it comes back.
Oh no, it'll still, I think, get good ratings. But listen, when you post this, when you discuss, make sure you show the evidence that Ohio State was a 3 seed for me. I had him on my chicken scratch.
I love that you had the evidence, Andy. I appreciate that.
Didn't translate for whatever reason.
Andy came on, man.
I own it.
He was a defeated man. God bless you, Andy. We appreciate it as always. See you next week, man.
Thanks, Andy.
You.
All right, let's wrap this thing up, Tate. Shout-outs, closeouts. What do we got?
Shout out to North Carolina. Shout out to Duke, the greatest rivalry in all of basketball, and I think in all of the world. I have always lived my life, Mark Titus, between, you know, there are 2 types of people. There are 2 shades of blue. That is the only line of deviation that in this world. There are Duke people, there are Carolina people. You pick, you choose, you decide where you want to lay. And that's why it's a beautiful rivalry because, you know, there is good, there is evil. I like to, you know, battle and go into this game every single year. This year, no one cares, it seems like, in the national media. And I think it might be a good thing. And we're going to see the graphic, the last 100 meetings, since 1979, we got a 50-50 split. They're going to give us the exact same score. The ESPN knows how to do this. This is their cash cow. This is how they made college basketball become so popular with Tobacco Road. So we know all that going in. I feel good, Titus. And I say this, and I probably won't feel good on Monday. And you know what? I felt great on Monday, and I felt horrible after the Clemson game. But I do like North Carolina's size. I do like the fact that they have to have some sort of pride. I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I would love the Cameron Crazies to be there. I would love for it to be a real game. I think it's going to be very strange to watch a Duke Carolina game without the Crazies there. Coach K seems very excited about this game, which gives me a little bit of pause. Because Duke is playing hot right now.
What did he say earlier? We were watching it together. He said they're a good team. They're still a good program.
They're still a good program. They're just not. They haven't earned the right to be ranked. Which means that they are just who they are normally. They just haven't earned that right. They have not gotten that D on their chest. Let's hope they don't get that D on Saturday.
In Coach K's mind, the AP poll, the number 7 spot on the AP poll should just be left blank. Like Duke, it's reserved for Duke, but Duke hasn't earned the right to be put.
Yeah, we will be back there very soon. We apologize.
So leave it blank and just keep it moving.
But yeah, that's my shout out. That game is happening on Saturday at Cameron Indoor. Yeah. It usually gets a lot of fanfare at this time of the year.
You're getting a taste of what Xavier Cincinnati fans feel, which is that it doesn't matter if the rest of the country doesn't care. You still want to beat the snot out of your rival, which is what that's the mark of a great rivalry. That's what a rivalry should be.
That's what it always is.
You don't need if your rivalry needs the rest of the country to care, your rivalry sucks.
No, the reason I need the rest of the country to care because I need them to put themselves in a category and say I'm a Duke person or I'm a Carolina person, because then I can kind of move along the path, knowing where I lay. Sometimes there are great Duke people out in the world. I will say that there are also some bad Carolina people out in the world. I will say that as well. But on this day, we all pick our sides.
Well, I'll be watching. What time is it? When is it? Saturday?
Yes,
it Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll definitely be watching. Can't wait, man. Had that in my calendar forever. Can't wait to watch.
Oh man.
No, it is always fun, and it's this is the least I've cared about a Duke Carolina game ever, but I still care. That's what's good about it, is that I still find myself caring who
they have to do something. Like last year, no one should have cared, but we got the Trey Jones air ball that leads to the window, more put back, and they win the game. There's always a moment.
I want to go on record. I'm not watching the game with you this year, so adjust your bets accordingly. I will not be with Tate. The Titus curse will not be in effect.
We're watching the quote unquote big game on Sunday.
Big game 55.
Yeah, on Sunday. But Saturday, we'll stay apart. I'll probably be at home watching by myself.
I want to shout out the Big Ten tournament moving to Indianapolis. That's really the only shout out that I had. They're officially doing it.
It had to happen.
We knew it was going to happen, but they officially announced that the Big Ten tournament is moving to Indianapolis to get a head start, basically on being in Indy. I guess they're just gonna. Does that help or hurt the Big Ten teams that are they're going to be comfortable already there? But then also, if you're a Big Ten team and you make it to the Final Four, I mean, at that point you've been stuck in your little quote-unquote bubble. We're not calling them bubbles. What are we calling them? Controlled environments?
Controlled environments,
yeah. You've been stuck in your controlled environment and away from campus / home for a month plus at this point. Whatever it is, are you at a disadvantage that you've been in this controlled environment for longer than the other teams? I'm laying the seeds early for when the Big Ten loses in the title game. This is my excuse why.
As we all know, it is hard to win your conference tournament than win 6 games in a row. So I think that's always a very tough place to be in, especially if you're going to be in the same place for a month. I got to shout out. I forgot to say this when we did the ESPN Arizona update. I wanted to shout out the University of Arizona, who said, and I quote, "It would not be in the quote-unquote best interest of the state to release the NOA to ESPN." And I have never heard that
phrase.
The whole state. The best interest of the state. I think that's a phrase that I need to use more as someone who likes to prop up North Carolina everything. Like when I see someone from North Carolina do something bad, I'm like, that's not in the best interest of the state. And I like that. I like Arizona taking ownership of the state.
If Duke beats North Carolina, you just tweet.
It's not in the best interest of the state.
Quote tweet the score. Just put, this is not in the best interest of the state.
That's I just want to shout that out because that was like my one note that I wrote down. I thought that was amazing.
That is so good. That's it. I want to shout out the Ohio State Buckeyes and Chris
Yeah.
Holtman and our team that
Our coach of the program, Chris Holtman, who has
Dude,
always been nothing but nice to us.
I mean, Andy was killing me for it. Like I don't think this is the best Ohio State team that we've had since I've been at Ohio State. That's not what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I am highest. I am when I say high, I don't mean like this is. I don't mean.
You're not Elton John, no.
I don't know how to do it without using my hands. I talk with my hands a lot. I
Yeah,
noticed
so
that.
do I. I watched the clips.
I
was
watch
like,
clips.
yeah, I
I'm
was
like, dude,
man.
I'm like trying to fly over here, like flapping my arms. I don't mean the highest in terms of like if you're ranking my feelings. And
Yes.
This is the highest. I mean the highest is in like a drug-induced state.
I think it's because
And
you can't believe that they actually
I
figured
can't
it out.
believe
Yeah.
how good we are right now, and I can't believe that we haven't had a tournament in 2 years, and like the tournament is going to be taking place in Indianapolis, my hometown. I'm probably going to be there for. I might try to go to the Big Ten tournament, just stay for 6 weeks and just take it
love
all in. And it's all the stars are all aligning. There's nothing that could go wrong. I said it. I'm going to say it again. Don't even knock on wood. I'm facing the jinx head on. We're going to the Final Four. Hang the banner. Put it up. Do the San
This
Diego
is a
State.
horrible idea.
Do the San Diego State move where we we hang the championship banner
Hang
before
it.
the season's even over.
Amen.
We're going to the Final Four. Book it. It's Gonzaga. It's Baylor. It's Ohio State. Figure out the fourth. I don't care.
Yeah, you find your
You
fourth.
You find your fourth.
We'll
you
see
guys,
you in Indianapolis.
You guys figure it out. I'll see you in Indy. That's it. So that's the only shout out I have. Anything else?
I love it. I
Super
love
Bowl
it.
prediction before we go?
Super Bowl prediction. I have Tom Brady and my good guy of the week next week, Father Time. That is my.
I have the Chiefs in a rout. I'm getting Peyton
love
Manning
it.
versus the Seahawks vibes. I'm
Yeah,
getting,
I got a prop bet for you. This is for the people that care about betting. Plus 5,000 odds that the first score of the game, not a touchdown, not a field goal, has to be something else. I like the idea of the Buccaneers having a botched snap safety situation, just like you're saying, to open the game. Plus 50,000, plus 5,000 for it not to be a touchdown or a field goal. Could be a safety. There you go.
That would
Might be plus 50,000.
like a
honestly.
Steelers versus the Browns thing, where
It's just a safety to open
right
the
out
game,
of the
and you're
gate.
just like,
Boom.
wow, now we just got hit in the mouth. That's what I
like
think.
it. That's it. That's the show. We'll see you guys next week. Go Bucks.
Bang.